Hi everyone. I hope you had a really nice weekend and that you enjoy being outside in the warm weather and sunshine. It's great to see you all again. Thank you for coming to our show and share last week. It was so much fun to see all of your show and share ideas and to see your faces on the screen. This week's letter of the week is W. W, wind, W. Let's say that together. W, wind, W. And our book this week is The Wild Wombat. And the title has two of our letters of the week in it. Wild and Wombat both start with the letter W. And coincidentally, the author of the story is Udo Weigelt. And Weigelt also starts with our letter of the week, and the illustrations are by Anne Catron. So I hope you like this story. And as you listen to this story, I'd like for you to think of three things. The first thing I'd like you to think about when you listen to this story are the characters in the story. They might be different from the characters that we usually hear about in our stories. The second is the setting of the story. Where does the story take place? And the third thing is the problem in the story. What needs to be fixed in this story? So let's listen and see if we could keep all of those things in mind while we listen to The Wild Wombat. On a bright summer day at the zoo, a parrot heard one zookeeper say to the other, "Today the wild wombat is coming all the way from Australia. We must be very careful with him." So the parrot overheard something. The parrot flew to the baby seal and told him about the wild wombat. "Do you think that the zookeeper is really afraid of the wild wombat?" asked the baby seal. "Sounded like that," said the parrot. "The zookeeper said they must be very careful with him." What does that mean, to be very careful with him? Do you think that he's fragile? Frightened, the seal swam to the shore to warn the chameleon. When the chameleon heard about the wild wombat, he gasped. "If the seal is so afraid," thought the chameleon, "then the wild wombat must be a dreadful sea monster that can swim faster than a seal." Let's see a picture. Oh boy. Do you think the wild wombat actually looks like that? Or is just the chameleon's imagination? The chameleon hurried over to tell the owl about the wild wombat. The owl trembled in fear. "If the chameleon is so afraid," thought the owl, "then the wild wombat must be an awful creature that can hide himself better than any chameleon and then jump out and frighten everyone." Oh boy, look what the owl is thinking the wild wombat is. The owl told the tortoise the terrible news about the wild wombat. And then the tortoise rushed over to warn the gazelle. "If the wild wombat is coming," the tortoise said, "he's a terrible monster with enormous wings and sharp teeth. He hides himself better than a chameleon and can swim faster than a seal." Frightened, the gazelle ran to the elephant. Oh boy. Oh boy. Their imaginations are very colorful, aren't they? "Watch out," she called to the elephant. "The wild wombat is coming. He has a stronger shell than a tortoise. He has fangs and claws. He can fly and make himself invisible like a chameleon. He can swim faster than a seal. And he comes all the way from Australia." Oh boy. 6 things she's sharing about the wild wombat. If the gazelle is so afraid, thought the elephant, then the wild wombat must be a horrible beast, that he can surely run faster than the swiftest gazelle. Immediately, the elephant told the kangaroo all about the wild wombat. Kangaroo, Elephant said, you come from Australia. Is the wild wombat truly terrifying? The kangaroo thought about it. She had never even heard of a wild wombat. But if the other animals were so afraid of him, then he must be a dreadful creature. Not wanting to appear ignorant, the kangaroo bluffed. So, does the kangaroo actually know anything about wild wombats? No. So the kangaroo didn't want to be honest and say, I don't know anything about wild wombats. So the kangaroo bluffed. The kangaroo started making up stories. The wild wombat once lived in a forest with many animals. But now all that's left is desert. The wild wombat simply ate everything. Oh no, cried the elephant. Was that nice that the kangaroo was making up stories? No. Kangaroo was starting rumors. A pair of flamingos overheard the kangaroo's story, and they ran to the lion as fast as they could. The wild wombat is coming, they called. He is bigger than an elephant. He can run faster than a gazelle. He has a shell like a tortoise, enormous wings, sharp talons like an owl. He can make himself invisible like a chameleon, and he can swim faster than a seal. Worst of all, he's eaten everything where he used to live. Eat things. When he heard this, even the brave lion felt afraid. It takes a lot to make a lion feel afraid. The terrified animals all rushed off to hide from the terrible wild wombat. None of the visitors could find a single animal at the zoo. Look at the visitors looking around. Where are all the animals? Then a van drove into the zoo with a big crate. What do you think is going to be in that crate? Let's see. A pair of zookeepers unlocked and unloaded the crate in the middle of the zoo. It was time. The door of the crate was opened. Pretend you're opening it. A brown animal peered out and then slowly emerged from the crate and looked around curiously. Should we look to see what's inside the crate? Hello, I'm finally here, the wild wombat says. Does it look really scary? No, I am a wombat and I've come here to live with you. But none of the other animals dared leave their hiding places. The wild wombat was so confused. Finally, the parrot flew over. Hello, are you the wild wombat? Yes, of course, said the wombat. Are you the only other animal in this zoo? The parrot looked around confused. Where were all the other animals? This is very strange, said the parrot. I'm sure I mentioned you were coming. I can't imagine why they aren't here. Why don't you think all the animals are here? Did that parrot scare everybody? The wild wombat, here it is. The wild wombat, like the kangaroo, is a marsupial. That means it carries its young in its pouch. And it's native to Australia. That's where it's from. It can grow to be 39 inches long. It's about 3 feet long. It looks like a small bear and lives in underground tunnels that it digs itself. The wombat is nocturnal, so it wakes up at night. It eats roots, mushrooms, grasses, and herbs. The wild wombat is a good-natured and peaceful animal that can live up to 20 years. So is it a scary animal or is it a peaceful animal? It's a peaceful, kind animal. Boys and girls, you did a super job listening to the story. So let's think about the questions that we talked about at the beginning. Number 1 was the characters in the story. Now, there were a lot of characters in the story, but were the characters in the story people? No, they were actually animals. And the setting of the story, where does the story take place? I know we've read some stories that have taken place in the countryside or on farms. Where is this setting? If you said the zoo, give yourself a pat on the back. And the problem in the story, what was the problem in the story? That all the animals were so afraid of a wild wombat. Did they need to be afraid of it? No, it's a peaceful animal. And sometimes that happens, boys and girls. Sometimes we can use our imagination and say, oh, I don't know if I'm going to like that animal or this person. But until you get to know the animal or the person, you won't know for sure. So try to keep an open mind and be kind to animals and to people. Boys and girls, you did such a nice job listening. And I'm going to send you some pictures from the story so that you could put them in order and maybe act out your own version of the wild wombat. So it was great to see you again. Have a wonderful day. Bye.